Thank you for purchasing a JUKI sewing machine. We hope this DVD will be helpful for you to enjoy your sewing. To ensure your safety, turn off the power switch and unplug the power cord from its electrical outlet in these situations. While sewing, keep an eye on the needle and keep hands away from all moving parts. The machine socket for foot controller is located in the right-hand side of the sewing machine. Connect the plug of the foot controller into the machine socket and then the wall outlet. Press the power switch, the power light is on. The sewing machine can be stopped and started by using the foot controller. The machine begins operating when the foot controller is pressed and stops when the controller is released. The harder you press the foot controller, the faster the machine will sew. The lighter you press it, the slower the machine will sew. Press down the reverse stitch lever while sewing. Machine will sew reverse stitches. Choose your desired stitch pattern by turning the Stitch Selector. Set the stitch length adjusting dial to your desired marking for sewing super stretch stitch patterns. You can adjust the stitch length by using the stitch length adjusting dial. Set the dial to a smaller number for a shorter stitch and to a larger number for a longer stitch. In case the thread tension is not correctly set, adjust the tension by using the top thread tension control, which is located on the upper side of the machine. Set the dial to a larger number for a stronger tension and to a smaller number for a weaker tension. For normal sewing, set the dial to 5. As you can see, the accessory parts are stored in the auxiliary bed. For free arm sewing, remove the auxiliary bed. Pull the hook cover release button to the right to remove the hook cover. Then, take out the bobbin. Place the thread spool to the spool pin and attach the spool cap. Pull some thread off the thread spool. Hold it with your right hand and thread it to the thread guides and through the spring. Then, wind the end of the thread once around the bobbin winder tension disc. Pull the thread through the hole in the bobbin from the inside out. Place the bobbin on the bobbin winding shaft. Hold the end of the thread and push the bobbin winding shaft to the right until it clicks. Press the foot controller and start winding. Once the bobbin thread is partially wound, temporarily stop the machine and cut the thread from the hole. Restart the machine and continue winding until you have enough thread. Stop the machine when you had enough thread. The bobbin will begin spinning freely once the bobbin thread is fully wound. Promptly stop the sewing machine at this time. Return the bobbin winding shaft to its original position. Remove the bobbin and cut the thread. Place the bobbin into the bobbin case. Before putting the bobbin in place, make sure that the thread winds counterclockwise. Feed the thread through slot A and B on the front side, then pull it towards the back. Finally, close the hook cover. Bobbin setting is complete now. You can begin sewing by picking up the bobbin thread. Always turn the power switch off before threading the top thread. Raise the presser foot. Turn the hand wheel to raise the thread take-up to the highest position. Hold the end of the thread and pass it through guide sequentially. Hold the thread with your right hand and thread it to the thread guide 1 and through the spring. Then pull it down along the groove. Pass the thread through the thread take-up from right to left. When you come to the guide on the needle bar, pass the thread from the right side. You can now thread the needle. Lower the presser foot and lower the automatic needle threader. Rotate the threader in a direction so that the threading hook goes through the needle eye. Pass the thread along the guide so that the threading hook catches the thread. Lift the end of the thread slightly and hold it lightly between your fingers. Return the lever gently. By doing so, a thread loop passes through the needle eye. Then pull the thread loop through the needle backwards. To pick up the bobbin thread, first raise the presser foot and gently hold the end of the top thread. Turn the hand wheel towards you to move the needle up and down once. Pull the top thread gently to pick up the bobbin thread. Pull out both top and bobbin threads and pass them under the presser foot towards the back of the machine. Turn the hand wheel towards you to lower the needle to a starting position. Lower the presser foot and press foot controller to begin sewing. Stop the sewing machine by releasing your foot from the foot controller when it comes to the sewing end. Raise the needle and raise presser foot lifting lever to remove the fabric. Lastly, cut the threads by using the thread cutter located on the face cover. To begin sewing at the edge of the thick fabric, first lower the needle to a starting position. Press the black button located on the right side of the presser foot. Then, lower the presser foot. Once the presser foot is lowered, remove your finger from the button and begin sewing. To change the sewing direction, stop the machine just before the point where you want to change direction, and continue sewing slowly until you reach the exact point where you want to change directions. When you get to the point you want, lift the presser foot with the needle left in the fabric. Change the sewing direction, then lower the presser foot again and start the machine. To sew reverse stitches at the sewing start and sewing end, lower the reverse stitch lever at the desired point. The machine will sew reverse stitches while foot controller is being pressed down with reverse stitch lever being lowered. You can change the stitch length by using the stitch length adjusting dial. Set the dial to a smaller number for a shorter stitch and to a larger number for a longer stitch. Turn the stitch selector between 1 and 2 to set the width of the zigzag you want. Turn the dial to 2 for a wider zigzag stitch and to 1 for a narrower zigzag stitch. The overlock stitch is used to prevent fabric edges from fraying. Set the stitch selector to 11. Set the stitch length and adjusting dial to this marking. When you sew an overlock stitch, it is important that the needle goes over the edge of the fabric. Use buttonhole foot for this stitch. Turn the power switch off before changing the presser foot. Raise the presser foot. Press the presser foot release lever to remove the presser foot. To attach the new presser foot, align the pin on the presser foot and the groove on the presser foot holder. Carefully lower the presser foot holder with the presser foot lever. Attach the buttonhole foot and pull the foot towards you as far as it will go. Lower the presser foot after aligning the needle with the sewing start position. Set the stitch length adjusting dial to the buttonhole stitch marking. First, set the stitch selector to this position of the buttonhole stitch. Make 4 or 5 stitches from side to side. Next, set the stitch selector to this position and sew the required length. Next, set the stitch selector to this position and make 4 or 5 stitches from side to side. Finally, set the stitch selector to this position. The machine sews reverse stitches. Stop at the point where you begin sewing. After you finish buttonhole sewing, remove the fabrics and cut both threads. Use the ripper tool to open the buttonholes. Using a stopper pin as shown will prevent you from cutting the stitches. The buttonhole is complete now. Turn the power switch off before changing the needle. Turn the hand wheel until the needle comes to the highest position and lower the presser foot. Next, loosen the needle set screw by using the special screwdriver which comes with your sewing machine. Then turn the needle set screw and remove the needle. Hold the needle with that flat part facing away from you and insert it fully until it touches the stopper pin. Then securely tighten the needle set screw. We hope that this DVD has given you a better understanding of your new sewing machine. If you have any further questions, please refer to your instruction manual. We hope you will enjoy your sewing.